Um, Sorry, Ashwin, we didn't hear you. Could you repeat that?
Sorry, who?
Ashwin was saying something and I think he got cut off. Could you repeat that, Ashwin?
I only have free access, not the ultra access for Jabali.
Okay, you use the same email on Luma and on Jabali, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Aminri is looking into that. I think we can wait like a couple of minutes, see if we get any late joiners, and we can start the presentation then. You guys can see my screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Aminri, are you all set on the recording, or do you need some more time?
I'm set on the recording.
Okay. Let's wait one more minute, then we can start. Hey, Tufik, we're waiting just a bit more, a few more seconds to see if we get some late joiners. Then we'll start the presentation. Hey, Narashima, welcome. I think we're good to go. It's 11:05. We'll be recording the session, so people that weren't able to attend and people that might join late can still watch it. So I'll quickly go over some of the basic features of the studio, starting on the homepage and then on the settings page and later on the actual game editing page. If you guys have any questions, you can either unmute and ask them or send them in chat and I'll look at them later. So I think we're ready to get started. So when you open the studio, this is the first thing you'll see. You'll see your plan and you'll see a window for you to prompt and start your game. So with your game idea, you can be as specific or as broad as you want, depending on what idea you already have cooked up. If you have many details on your game, you can start with a lot of details, or if you have just a high level idea, you can start with that idea. You can also suggest ideas. Since we're doing a cricket game jam, you'll be constrained by our theme. It has to be a cricket game, but you can suggest an idea and maybe put something cricket related here. You can also choose which engine you'll use. So you can choose between Godot and Phaser here. You can build 3D games with Godot and 2D games as well. And Phaser, you'll be able to build 2D games. A quick tip on this, the Spark usage on Godot is bigger, is the agents takes more because there's a lot more complexity in the projects in Godot. So if you're building a 2D game, you might want to go to Phaser or at least start on Phaser to get a feel for even though we'll be refreshing sparks, right? But to get a feel of how the spark usage goes. And you can also choose your camera here, and you'll be able to choose between 2D and 3D in Godot. And in Phaser, you only have the 2D option. So after you put your idea here, you can just send it and the agent will start building. I'll show you the screen for that later, but let's go over the other elements we have on our sidebar here. You can see all of your projects. If you have a bunch of projects, you can browse them here on this tab. You also have templates, which you can start your game off. When you start your game with your idea in that initial screen, you will start with a blank template, basically, a simple template, but you can take one of these ideas if you want to take this pre-built template and build upon that. So we have these options here. On the community tab, you'll be able to see some community games that have been built. And on the learn tab, you'll see some of the tutorials we have on using the studio. We have a lot more tutorials and later masterclasses as well uploaded on our YouTube page. From this page, you can also access your settings page. So you can change your information here. You can look at your plan. And you also have some interesting options to add here, some later features that were added here, which is MCP. If you run MCP servers locally, or if you have access, if you have API access to MCP servers, you can add them here. So the agent is able to use this. So I have Confi UI on my PC, and the agent is able to use that with the tools that I give it. So it can generate images, it can grab images from that. I have also a node MCP, which is a shader MCP, which is very useful to create shaders on Godot. The agent, I think the current beta version is still not updated, but it will be soon for the game jam. So you'll be able to use shell commands. The agent will actually be able to use shell commands. And so it will have terminal access and it will be much more powerful with what you ask. And you also have skills. I have a couple of skills installed that I use here. The good old caveman skill that Ghost was using. I'm using it as well. So it cuts a bit of tokens when the agent is talking to you. You have UI designers. All of these skills I found online, and you can find a bunch of useful skills for Godot or for Phaser to use them. So you can add, create skills, import them all over the settings panel. You can also do that inside the project, which is what we'll be doing. So let's open my latest project here. This is the screen you'll get to when you actually create a game. So this is an already ongoing project, but basically when you start a project, this is what you get. So you get the agent reading your initial prompt and building upon that. And most likely on the first prompt, it will ask you some clarifying questions to learn about your idea and your game, and it will start building it. So to this left side, on this left chat window, you'll be able to choose the model you want to use. So we have a bunch of models, some more powerful models which are more expensive, faster models which are cheaper. So if you're doing a smaller edit, you might want to choose a cheaper fast model here, which won't spend as much tokens, as much sparks. And if you're doing a big edit with more perceived complexity, you might want to use like GPT 5.5, which is a lot more expensive. And you also have the smart routing to the best model, which is the studio choosing based on the complexity of your prompt. So this is also very useful. You can choose the behavior of your agent here. I'll show this on more detail on the settings page, but you'll be able to choose from here as well. And for agents that have reasoning enabled, you'll be able to choose the level of reasoning. So basically, the more reasoning it does, you can expect a better output, a more detailed output, but more token usage as well. So you should adapt and choose this according to the task. You can also click on this plus sign here and you can attach images. So If you have an UI wireframe or if you have a reference image of a game that you want to build, you can just take from your files and drag and drop here, or you can click this and it will open your folders, your documents, and you can add them. The agent will use them as context, or maybe it can use them as assets as well if you add them to the assets. You can also add MCPs. You can also add MCP servers and skills from this part. So, and you can also take screenshot. This is a very useful feature. So, this is obviously a placeholder menu. So I can directly show the agent what I don't like about this and what should change. So the screenshot feature is very useful. So this is what we have on our chat part. You can also refresh the chat if you're feeling that the thread is growing very large and the agent is starting to lose a bit of accuracy and a bit of context. You can reset the thread. It will look at your documents, at your game design document to see what you're building and look at your files and get the context to keep the conversation going fresh. We have context compression to make token and Spark usage smaller, but still resetting threads sometimes is useful. And if you encounter any bugs, you can report through this modal here. You can also send any issues you have on Discord, but this is pretty useful as well for our developers because it goes directly and it shows your game ID, your ID. And so if you find anything, you should use this as well. And on the right side, you have the preview window. We have a bunch of features here as well. So we have our preview open, which is showing our game. If you click on assets, you'll be able to see all of the assets, the images, and everything you add and create to your game. So if I want to add an image or a pre-made sprite or a sprite sheet, I can drop them here as well. I can add sounds, music, or I can create them with the agent and it will appear here in the assets. It's empty because I currently have no assets. The game is entirely made of geometry of boxes. We also have the scripts. So here you'll be able to see our entire code base. You'll be able to upload scripts. You'll be able to create scripts. And you can click on the ones that are already created. And you can edit them if you want. If you run into any bugs, you can fix them. And you also have a version history of each of your scripts. So if you want to return only one of the scripts to a version, to a commit, you can come here on this history and change. This one only has one version history because it's a new file, but some of them, older files, will have a bunch of versions. So you might want to use this on some specific cases. We also have a larger version history here, which is based on your prompts. So you'll be able to see the things that the agent did here and the fixes it did, the styling it did, and you'll be able to return to some of these versions if you want. We also have a published version history, which you can see up here. So a good tip is to constantly publish your game as well. So if you are good with your game, if part of the logic is running well, you might want to publish it. So you have a version here that you can quickly return to later as well. So this is a good tip to keep version control on check. You have on this button here, on this settings button, you have your project settings. So you'll be able to see and edit your game poster. You can upload images and you can regenerate the poster as well. It regenerates the poster based on your game design document as well. So if the context of your game changes, this will change as well. You can change your name or you can generate a new one. You'll be able to see your game ID, which is something we will likely ask you if there are bug reports or requests like that. You have a game description. This everything here was generated by the agent, and you can regenerate it or you can write it yourself. You have some plugins that are used on Godot. So you can use LLMs in your games. You can have games with agents inside them. And Nakama is a client-to-client multiplayer. So you can make multiplayer games with Godot as well. And you can install them and use them from this page as well. On the AI settings, you'll be able to choose models, just like we had on the chat part. You have the reasoning here, and you have the behavior. So this is it explains the behavior a bit more extensively. So I usually use autonomous when I'm doing some detailed prompts and I already know what I want to be built. But if you are looking for some collaboration for ideas and for systems, you can use collaborative mode, which the agent talks to you more before executing, or it checks with you more before executing. Cautious does this a lot. So cautious is like really trying to not break your game. So it will talk to you a lot about the changes that it's going to do and things like that. And the creative agent is meant for exploring ideas. So if you are doing more open-ended prompts and you want to see what the agent can build and you want to get ideas, creative might be the best behavior for you. This is very important, which are instructions you can give to your agent. So this is an instruction that I auto add to all of my games. You can also add something like always read logs before ending an edit, for example, because this is something I noticed sometimes it gives me the game back with some console errors. So this makes sure that it always reads them. You can also see your MCP servers here. You can also see shell settings here and your skills. So all of those things you could see on your profile settings, you'll be able to see here and actually create and import. So if you need to add things during the project, you can come to this part and add things here. You have this run button here, which makes the game run on a new window. So you'll be able to test the game in full screen, for example, if you want. And you have this to rebuild the project. In case of a phaser or a web-based project, you'll refresh the page. That's what it will basically do. And on go.projects, it would actually rebuild the project. And you have to do this, and it does this automatically, but sometimes you have to do this to be able to see the new version of the game. And finally, when you are happy with the game or you want to store that version, like I said before, you can click on publish and you'll see this publish modal here, in which you can also change your name, the description. You can add release notes to the version that you're publishing. So if you already have a game up and you want your players to know what changed, you'll be able to put the release notes here. You can regenerate your poster and you can add poster instructions here. So you can say that you only want one character and a title screen and a title on the poster and click on regenerate and it will do it again. So after you're happy with everything you have here, you can just click publish and it will publish the game. So let's just do it. And you'll be able to see the progress here. And after it's done, you'll receive the link to the publish the game. And that link is what you use to submit. So you can open the game in browser or you can copy the link and you go to the JCL website and publish your game there as a submission. You can publish as early as you want, so you can start making a game and publish it there, and we'll be able to see the latest version. So if you published on the first day of the competition and you will keep updating it, we'll always see the latest version. So that's basically it for the features. If I left something out, Sasha and the others can correct me. But I think these are the main features, and we can move on to questions. Yeah, Ghost, just saw what you posted here. This version should be out for the game jam, so you should have shell. Okay, enable by default, like we have on skills, right? Yeah, I think that's useful. By the way, if you have questions, you can type them on chat or open mic. Either way, it's cool. Yeah, about the theme, I'm just reading Sasha's notes here, and it's cricket, but for example, I'm building a cricket game that uses cricket as the setting, but the game itself is not cricket. So you can get creative. You can take one mechanic from cricket, like bowling or batting, and you can expand on that. And of course, it has to be cricket themed, but you don't really have to make a cricket simulation like a FIFA or something like that. You can get creative and use this theme as a backdrop to make a fun and engaging game. Yeah, one idea on this about what type of cricket game you're building, right? Is this exact game that I'm sharing here, which is a prototype at this moment, but I don't know if you guys know Marvel Snap, for example. It's a card game, a multiplayer collectible card game, and I'm basically building that using Cricut. So you can choose your cards here, and each card has a class basically, which is a role, a position in the game. And when you start the match, you'll be able to use, for example, we have Don Bradman, which is one of our legend cards. You have bowler cards, you have all-rounder cards, and each of these have specific effects, this defensive or offensive, and they all build towards your power on each of these three locations. So one of the locations, each of the locations are basically a game situation or something like that. So you have to win on two of the three locations to be winner of the match. So this is an idea for of how you can use cricket, but the game is not really cricket itself, right? It's using cricket as a theme, and it's a whole different game. It's based on Marvel Snap, which is a game about Marvel heroes and villains. So this is an idea of what you can build, or where you can expand what you're building, right? Sure, Ghost. You can get feedback, but you have to make sure to start your game over when the jam starts. Or I don't know if you built for the later jam, yeah. But if it's just a feedback, sure, we can take a look at it. And Rihan, of course, you can ask the question. So I don't think there is a limitation for using like copyright things like real life players and teams and player faces. I think Sasha and Tufik might be better suited to answer this, but what I would answer, what I would think, but this is not confirmed. I'll check to get back to you. But since this is a non-commercial project, right? It's part of a contest. I don't think there will be issue with that, but I could be wrong. So it'd be better to get Tufik or Sasha's input here.
I think it should be okay. If you eventually want to sell these games on the App Store or wherever else, there might be other restrictions that those stores put on you with respect to using the likeness of someone's faces. However, for the purpose of the game jam, I think it's fine. Tofik, do you have anything to?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. As long as it's not commercial, I think you should be fine.
And again, one really nice thing about both Studio and Friend Jam is even if you start with real life player faces and you decide later to go on the App Store route, you can always just regenerate those faces or change the assets a little bit while keeping your mechanics the same. And that should work too. So,
Yeah, I would just be wary of like, copyright images. Like as in like if you're getting images from the internet and they have copyrights, just be aware of that. But if you're using like AI to like generate it, I think that'll be covered as part of the Jabali terms of use.
feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions as well, or type in the chat if anyone else has questions.
I see that Rehan has a follow up. Can we use reference images? Can you expand a little bit, Rehan? Like when you say reference images, do you mean for like players for the cricket game, or do you want to use a reference image when generating an image? If so, yes, you can. You can use a reference image. Peter, do you want to maybe quickly, briefly cover that?
Yeah, let's just see. Oh yeah, definitely. Like you using, I always use reference images when I'm generating images because there are things with composition and the vibe that you want to get. So you can and you definitely should do that. Even it's a very simple reference like a wireframe, you just draw and paint like where you want one thing to be and where you want another thing to be. That's very useful and it gives you more control. And the agent is really good at taking like a blocky wireframe and turning it into a cool image. So yeah, you should do that. And even real life stadiums and things like that. I think you can stream it Ghost. You could send your link here, but I think streaming is fine if we have questions in chat, I'll interrupt you to answer the questions, but I think you can stream for now. That's cool.
As a note, you'd still have to start the game over to be within the constraints of the time.
Yeah, this is just like an early prototype that I was like trying.
Yeah.
So just to give Sean response quickly, Ghost. So uh, each judge has a preference, right? And we have uh, weights for each of these things, that each of these categories which you said. But what I would tell you is make something that looks unique, even though it might not be unique, but it stands out visually and is fun. Those are the two things that for the game gen, and if you're building commercial games professionally as well, always think about two things. Like the game stands out visually, it grabs attention when you look at it, like for 1 2 seconds, and it's fun to play. Those are the two main things that I consider when I'm looking when I'm rating games and things like that. Of course, we'll look at polish, at how the art art assets tie with one another and things like that. But to me personally, those are the two things that bear more weight when I'm rating a game, because those give me a good feeling when I'm playing, right? So it makes everything better. It makes it feel more original. It makes a game can look better just by being more fun, you know.
We also have quite a few different judges who will all be judging your games and playing through them and providing feedback. So I'm sure that everyone has like a little different criteria on what they're looking for with the games. But uh, I mean, yeah, just try to make a fun game and hopefully it wins.
So for a timing based arcade game, I wouldn't say that a mechanic specifically might create strong replay value, but maybe this the way you structure your game might have more replay value. So arcade games are replayable by nature, but if you have some sort of meta progression or something that the players can aim, for example, take hyper casual games like Jetpack Joyride, or even Fruit Ninja, which is a very arcade based game. Those still have unlockables, and Jetpack Joyride you can unlock actual gameplay things and you can go farther. But games like Fruit Ninja do that just visually, and that is already enough in most cases. So I would look at meta progression. I would change some values and have some type of currency in which you can buy upgrades, so you can play for longer. And also, if it's a timing based arcade game, try to get people on that flow state. You know, try to get them kind of hypnotized with cool music, cool visuals. I think that goes a long way. Also, I'm looking at your game, Ghost, so we can talk all around. So that's kind of that seems like a pretty arcadey betting game as well, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically looking at direction and timing, or is it just
Yes.
direction based?
Direction and timing.
The timing would be better to hit when it's closest to you, or not?
Like in the middle.
Okay, yeah, got it. I think that's a good arcade concept. I like that.
And like you can
And
choose between whether you want to hit like a low shot or a high shot. It's like this is a low shot. And then if you do like with space, then it's a high shot.
are the red points, the red squares, defenders?
Yes.
Yeah, that
So
would be
like,
cool as well if the defense shifts, you know, from one side to the
hmm.
other, and have to kind of think about how the defense is when you're hitting as well. Also, I think this is a simple enough game that you could make it to 3D and
Hmm.
maybe
Yeah.
use 2D sprites. You know, uh, I really
Oh.
I really like those types of games. They look retro. Like use a use a 3D like back shoulder camera and 2D sprites with some cool. It can be like three sprite animations for throwing and for bowling. I think it can look cool. It can look very
Hmm. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Also, good to hear that, Rehan. So, everyone here, if you registered in Luma with the same email that you're using on Jabali, you should have Ultra access now. So, it's a good time to check that to see if you have it. If not, you can reach out in this chat here, or you can create a ticket, and we'll sort that out. Of course, Ghost. Tomorrow, the same time, we'll be having a workshop which is focused on feedback itself. So you can bring your game again. Everyone here can bring their games and we can take a look at all of them and give you some feedback and some ideas. Yeah, excited to see what you guys build. In 20 minutes, Rihan. It's the jam starts in 20 minutes. So in case people haven't joined, they'll still be thinking about the correct start hour, right? Hey, Dragon, did you sign up on Luma? Cool, you registered on Luma, and did you use the same email that you're using on Jabali? Like you went to Jabali website and registered with the same email. Okay, and you're sure that it's the same email you're using on Jabali, right? If you want, if you are sure of that, you can send us you can open a ticket and send us your email. Or if you are cool with sending your email in this chat here, and I mean we will sort that out. So for the shell, you can basically your agent will have terminal access, right? So it can do a lot more if you ask it, for example, to actually this is what I'm guessing because I haven't tried this, but it should be able to install dependencies, for example, if you want to use something specific. uh, I think Sasha was using it earlier for git commands as well. So that's something you can now get the agent to do directly with terminal commands. Rihan, the credit reset should happen right at the start of the jam. And same thing, Sean. If you are sure that your Luma email is the same to register on Jabali, yeah, you can tag Imanry in the tickets.
Yeah, you should see a new studio version roll out presently, uh, which you can use across the jam or whatever. But that would have a little more shell command access and power for you guys. Bali already does all the git commands for you, but you can also specifically kind of prompt it to ask what diffs are or list the files, or what is a larger what is a particular image file or sprite taking up too much space and slowing down your game or whatever else. So you should have access to that new studio editor version soon. And as Imanri said, if you create a ticket, if you don't have the ultra plan yet, or if you have questions during the course of the game jam, feel free to create a ticket and tag any of the Jabali folk here, and we can try to get back to you as soon as possible and resolve your issue.
Yeah, we also have the Game Jam chat, which you can upload your games there as well. And when we have free time, we'll take a look at them. Even if it's not a proper workshop and things like that, if you want to discuss mechanics and things like that, you can talk in chat, and we'll get back to you when we see them.
That's true. In the past, folks have, even your fellow competitors on the game jams, have actually provided a lot of good feedback for each other's games and ideas on like how to improve the same and all. So definitely feel free to post your games once you've published them the first time, if you want that feedback from the community.
I just sent you the channel on chats, Dragon. You can create your ticket through there and send us your email, and we'll sort that out to you. You can also tag Imanry when you open it, and she'll see it for you.